Alright, what's up everybody? My name is James. Welcome to my channel. It's been a while since I've done a commentary video of any type of race. This one is an outdoor race. It's called the Jefferson Cup Road Race, which happens in Charlottesville, Virginia. A very nice course, hilly, and I am racing the Category 3 and 4 race here with a couple of my teammates. 3 of them, actually. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down how the race played out, how our team, Speed Lab Racing, SLR, how we worked together as teammates and communicated. My role in this race was basically to be the road captain, and I actually think I do a pretty good job of road captaining in this one. And I'm going to be as helpful as possible to the other 3 guys that we have, because all 3 of them have a very good shot of either a podium finish or just getting upgrade points. Even though some of you guys already know what the result of this race is, most of you guys don't, so I'm not going to spoil it yet. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the course first, because that's also very important for the race. And then I'm going to go through some of the teams that were here and kind of what we wanted to do as a team to either break the race apart or to just put ourselves in a position where we can do well. All right, so looking at the course map here, it kind of looks like an elf hat, I guess. Or maybe some sort of forest gnome or something. The start-finish line is where that red dot is, and it is on the west side of the course. We are going in a clockwise direction here. So as we go north up to corner number 1, it is slightly hilly, trending upward in general. And then when we take corner number 1, that is the start of Blenheim Climb. Blenheim Climb is probably the most important feature on the course. It is about 1 kilometer long, so a little over half a mile, and the average gradient is about 4%. So the effort there is, for the most part, going to be slightly under 2 minutes, and it's going to be a pretty hard effort in general each lap. And we are doing 4 total laps of this entire course. This course that you see here is pretty much exactly 10 miles long. Anyway, after you crest over the climb, there is a pretty fast and fun downhill, which then flattens out for a few miles until you get to corner number 2. After corner number 2, between there and corner number 3 on the entire south side of the section, it's basically a bunch of rolling hills. So we were definitely anticipating that we were going to throw some attacks on some of those rollers there, and other teams would probably be active as well. By the time you get to corner number 3, which is all the way on the west side of the course, from there back to the start-finish line is about, I think, 1.5 miles or so, maybe 2.5 kilometers. And because that entire section of road is about a 1 to 2% uphill drag, the finish is probably not going to be very fast, but it will likely be hard because it's just going to be a constant push.
Right turn. Ben, we're all here.
Okay, this is lap 1, corner number 1. We are heading into Blenheim Climb for the first time. You heard me talking to Ben, telling him that we are all here, just to let him know that all 4 of the SLR guys are together. One quick and important note also, going into and coming out of the corners, the centerline rule is not in effect, but the centerline rule is definitely in effect on basically every other part of the course. Maybe on the descent, they're going to be a little bit more lax, and then on the finish, with about 1K to go, we will be able to use both sides of the road. So I've been in road races previously where the officials will let us know that they will enforce the centerline rule, and they don't end up enforcing the centerline rule. But I was actually very happy that today they enforced it, actually multiple times. In the previous races where it wasn't enforced, there were like 90% of the field that were abiding by that rule, and then there were a couple guys here and there that were passing on the left, violating the centerline rule, and it wasn't enforced. And I don't know, if there's a rule, it should be enforced, right? So I think that was good. Oh, actually, one very quick and important note that I forgot to mention when I was showing you guys the map and the course. The start-finish line last year and the year before was at the top of Blenheim Climb. So that was actually a fun finish, and it was actually really painful. But it actually would have been much, much more favorable for our team, especially with Ben and John and Nick, to have the finish up there. But within the week before the race, I realized that the start-finish was going to be moved to where it is currently for today. And actually, this is the start-finish line for the years before the past 2 years. So they moved it back for whatever reason, probably because of parking spaces and availability. But yeah, we just had to make do with what it was. So we were definitely going to try to form a break and get a result from the break. So we were going to be active regardless. All right, so we are cresting Blenheim Climb here. We are starting our descent. This descent is going to be pretty fast. And here we are going to come up on our first opportunity to learn from something that happens. So one of the things that great racers always say is to follow good wheels and to just be aware of people who are around you, right? So I am always doing this when I'm in a race. There is a rider from THR who is on my right side right here. I have a little bit of prior knowledge from the week before at Tour of Newport News because he was racing in my field. And in no way am I trying to defame him or trash him in any way when I say this. He was a wheel that I was just not comfortable following or being around. I knew this ahead of time, so I was definitely aware of him being on my right side as we descend, especially when it gets fast, and you'll see that it was actually kind of justified. He initially starts on a good line following the pack, and then somewhat unexpectedly swings maybe like 10 feet across to the left of the road and just tries to chop off the entire turn, I guess.
Hey, come on!
But like I said, I was somewhat guarded already. I knew I didn't want to have my front wheel in danger, especially around him. So thankfully I wasn't chopped and I didn't go down at 30 some miles per hour. But yeah, I voiced my annoyance, gave him a loud hey, and then I just wanted to get down the hill and just basically stay away from his wheel. So honestly, my hope is that he actually sees this video and he can learn from these things as well. Video is a really, really great tool for learning, which is one of the main reasons why I record pretty much all the races that I do. Because even if I don't post all of my footage, at the very least I can go back and look at it, see what I did wrong, try to correct it, try to learn from it and improve. Anyway, going back to what else we can learn also, as we're descending here, you can also see that virtually everybody else is in the drops. I think he's the only one, maybe one of two riders that I saw that were descending on the hoods, which just isn't nearly as stable and you won't have as good control of your bike, especially if you have to evade something or handle your bike unexpectedly. Being in the drops is going to be much safer. And funny enough, this same rider actually voices his opinion of my riding later in the race, and I'll show that clip later. Let me tell you a little bit about my teammates today. Ben Tamsky is wearing the new kit design, the orange and the blue. He is on the smaller / lighter side, and his watt per kg is quite high for this field. So he's a really strong rider. John Jaicks, he is our breakaway extraordinaire. He is super aero. He actually, the week before this race at Tour of Newport News, he was in the Cat 2 field, and he got second place in the road bike TT that we had, and he did it on 120 watts, less than the winner, I think. He's a lighter rider, weighs about 60 kilograms, so his watt per kg is way up there, and he's also very aerodynamic, so he is our #1 breakaway specialist. Oh, John is wearing the white kit that we have. That's from last year. He doesn't have the new one. We are working on getting him a new one. He is going to be buying one soon. This past week, New Type Cycling put out a video of the Tour of Newport News crit and circuit race. In the crit, he did inform us that we are supposed to have similar or same kits. In the rule book, I think it says that starts from Cat 2. So in this field, I don't think the rule applies, but we're not doing it intentionally. That's all I'm saying. I'm pretty sure about 75% of the field at the start line knew that John was on our team. And throughout the race, whenever John is off the front, we are letting the field know that he is on SLR, which I guess we're not really obligated to do, but we do it anyway. Anyway, moving on. Nick is behind me. He is also wearing the same kit as Ben and myself. Nick is a slightly bigger rider when compared to Ben and John, but he's also very strong. And while he can roll a brake very well, today he was kind of in the position of being the quote-unquote designated sprinter, so I wanted him to be a little bit more passive throughout the day. Alright, hopping forward a minute or two. THR guy passes me on the left over the center line, but the officials probably let it slide because we're coming up to the corner pretty soon.
John, move up on the left. Get behind Ben.
And I'm communicating with John in front of me just to keep us a little bit more forward in the race. We as a team wanted to be a little bit more active off the front, so we're not going to be able to do anything if we're not near the front. We have to make sure we take opportunities to move up when we can.
Push up, John, push up.
Especially when the course is this narrow. All right, coming out of this corner number 2 on lap 1, Ben starts to push on the front, and he is starting to string out the field here. A middle school kid pulls through, and they keep on the pace a little bit. John and I are just sitting in the wheels here, waiting for any action to happen, or also waiting for a moment where we can actually put in an attack. Eventually, Alex Gass from NCVC comes up on the right here, and he comes through to the front. John follows him, and then John starts to push a little bit on this downhill. Alex follows him. This guy in front of me is named Max. He is on Team Carbon Racing. As we come to the bottom of this hill, I see Alex's body language. It seems like he's going to be pushing it up this next kicker. So I pull around Max, and I flow right onto Alex's wheel.
Stay, John, stay.
And I did that without wasting much energy at all. So that actually worked out pretty well. You heard me tell John to stay. I wanted him to sit in the wheels. We didn't really get any gap. And I end up just rolling off the front a little bit here. As we come up this next kicker, you see Alex Gass come through with some speed. He lets up a little bit on this next kicker. And as it slows up, I think John told Ben to send this attack here. Ben looks like he got shot out of a cannon, and he's really pushing the pace. So as the field begins to chase, John and I, again, are sitting in the wheels here, waiting to potentially counterattack. It looks like there's maybe one District Taco guy that was able to latch onto Ben's wheel. But as we push up this next kicker, you can see John go up on the right side. He is on Ethan Dursteler's wheel, who is also a District Taco rider. And now there are some gaps forming in the field here. I'm just going to sit in the draft because I know there are some people who are going to be chasing this down. And if you look ahead, John is pushing off the front with Ethan from District Taco in hot pursuit. Ben is in that group with a few other guys. And I am making my way up to the front chase group, but allowing Remy and this Velocia Sport rider to tow me up to the group. Darren Arbaugh from Redshift Racing recognizes the danger of the two-man break, so he sends it up the left side, and he does a bit of pulling. Micah Jewell on Carbon Racing also pulls on the front. I am telling Ben to sit maybe second or third wheel, and I'm going to position myself in a similar position.
Sit here and make them work.
So that we can isolate the people who are pulling on the front and hopefully disrupt the chase. John and Ethan are going through corner number 3 right now. They have about a 15-second gap already. Once we take that corner and we are going up the west side of the course, it's going to be a little bit easier to disrupt the chase because it's a one-lane road with a clearly marked yellow line on it.
Just sit it. Just keep these two guys in front and make them work.
So there won't be too much space for people to move around and to come to the front to help the chase effort. The chase is usually going to be the strongest if they are able to string together 2, 3, or 4 solid, consistent pulls in a row. But if they're not able to do that, then there's going to be some lulls in the pace, which should help the break stay away. I promise I won't drag out the rest of this too long, but I do want to show you guys just an example of how we as teammates of someone who's in the break can help muddy the chase, take some control of the race, and influence how the race shapes out. So like I mentioned before, Ben and I are on Micah's wheel here. We are basically isolating him to pull. He has done a lot of work in the first lap already, and the fact that he has to continue to burn on the front here, you can see he waves his arm. He wants people to come to the front to help him out. Whether he was waving to his teammates or just everybody else in the pack, I'm not exactly sure. Finally, this Miller School kid pulls through here with a couple guys on his wheel. Now, once he pulls off, both the guy in the blue kit and the NCVC rider behind him don't want to commit any effort to the chase. So after that one small surge from the Miller School kid, the pace completely dies again.
John is solo.
So you heard me say that John is solo because we can actually see that there is a yellow jersey up the road. Ethan has fallen off of the break.
Get in, Nick. Behind red.
This isn't necessarily ideal because this means that District Taco will now want to chase John down. But the plan for our team at this moment is going to stay the same, especially because John is completely out of sight. All right, in a few seconds, we are about to reabsorb Ethan back into the pack. On the left side of the road, there's a little bit of an opening, and his teammate Connor Williams sends it up the left side. He actually sends it pretty hard. The Route 1 Velo guy who is on his wheel, he immediately follows him, but then when he gets to the front, he completely shuts it down. He stops pedaling entirely. I don't know why. But yeah, Flynn Baker, another teammate of District Taco, uses that opportunity to come to the front and just soft pedal to give Connor a chance to get off the front. At this point in the race, that's not really a threatening move. So Ben, Nick, and I are just going to maintain our position near the front of the pack. Another note on the way that we are riding, we are going to be as wide as possible. So we do ride side by side a good amount of the time throughout this race. You can see here that Nick is in the wind at this moment. So even though it's less efficient for him to ride this way, tactically it's going to be much more favorable for what we're trying to do. So yeah, we are giving more draft to the people who are behind us, but at the same time, we are also preventing fresher legs from rotating to the front and contributing to the chase. And that's a much more important goal for us to achieve in this race. All right, keep your eyes on the right. And boop. So Ben and this Route 1 Velo guy exchange a couple words. They exchange a couple more words, so I interject.
Just ride, Ben, just ride.
I'm not going to get into some sort of analysis of what happened there. Anyway, the more important part was that being the road captain, I wanted to make sure that Ben's head was in the race. And I want every available teammate and full focus on the goal of what we need to accomplish. So actually, we talked about it after the race. Ben actually thanked me for doing that because it helped him just snap out of it and get his mind back in the game. So it worked. I'm going to pat myself on the back one time for being a good road captain there. And here we just completed lap 1 of 4.
Push up, Ben, push up.
I tell Ben to push up because we have fallen back a couple wheels and the speed is increasing. And while we have the space, we want to be proactive with our positioning and even anticipate how the pack is going to flow.
Go around carbon, Nick. Left side, Micah. Just sit on the front, guys, on the climb. Don't push it.
Okay, there I was letting Ben know that we are not going to be pushing the pace, but I do want him to keep pace with whoever's on the front. This second time up Blenheim Climb is way harder and faster than the first time we went up it. Ben does a really great job of tracking down Flynn Baker on District Taco and keeping pace with him.
Nick, follow it.
And for me, this was really starting to sting by the top. I peeked back and I saw Nick behind me, so I asked him to follow the few guys that were rolling on the front. I wasn't too worried about letting up before the very top of the climb because I knew there were a lot of people that I would be able to draft on the descent. And in this situation, even if there was a front selection of maybe 8 or 9 riders that went off the front with Nick and Ben in it, that would still be favorable for us, so I wouldn't have mind if that happened either. But you'll see that I was able to use the slipstream to actually make up all the positions again, even before the real descent started. And then all 3 of us again are now near the front, and we are going to be able to go back to controlling the pack again. Alright, so Alex from NCVC has pushed off the front a little bit on the second half of this descent. And this rider in front with the blue kit decides to attack. I see that Alex is coming back and not really committed to staying off the front, and the blue kit rider goes around him. So now the blue kit rider is solo off the front, which is not a huge threat at all.
Easy, Ben, easy, easy, easy. Let him roast, yep.
However, it does stir up the pack a little bit and creates a little bit of action here, so we'll see how we're able to manage this. You see Max on Team Carbon come around me here. He puts in a little bit of an effort. Nick hops right onto his wheel.
Get on, Nick, sit in.
So now Max is on the front. As long as he keeps it fast, nobody's going to be coming around. And all 3 of us are lined up right behind him. But as Max comes off the power run, we slow up a little bit. Richard here, this young guy in the DCR kit, smoothly rolls to the front, and then...
Coming up the left side, Nick. Follow. Get on his wheel. Get in, Ben.
Richard on the front is about to absolutely smack it with a really hard attack. And once that happens, Max responds, as he should. And I'm going to slide in right behind Max. Mainly because I don't want to commit any more energy than I really have to, especially because Nick and Ben are both on Richard's wheel. But just prior to this, Max has been on the front for a little bit, so he actually wasn't able to follow in this instance, and he dropped Ben's wheel. Now the situation for our team is that John Jaicks is up the road, probably with maybe like a 40-second gap. Richard is currently towing Nick and Ben, and then I'm with the rest of the peloton. So obviously I'm not going to chase. However long Richard decides to tow Nick and Ben around, I'm perfectly fine. Now some of you guys might be wondering, why did Richard slowly roll to the front and then once he was on the front, attack, when people were already on his wheel? Wouldn't it have been better to attack from behind and get some speed differential as he passes the front? And you're correct. My guess is that Richard was kind of forced to the front as the pack slowed down, and I feel like his attack wasn't pre-planned, in which case he probably shouldn't have attacked. But attacking from the front actually happened a few times today, and I think it was mainly a function of the fact that the course was kind of narrow for the field size, and because our team was occupying some space near the front of the pack on an already narrow course, I think it just made it a little bit harder for people to get any type of momentum as they're doing their attack. Alright, we just took corner number 2 on lap 2. I am soft pedaling. Alex Gas sends it up the right. Flynn Baker, District Taco, Micah Jewel, Carbon, they are all pushing to bridge up to that group of 3 that has Ben and Nick in it. And I have the luxury of just surfing wheels. But as I'm doing that here, this Velocious Sport kid nearly chops my front wheel as he's trying to squeeze around Max. Max actually almost gets chopped also. He did a good job to keep that upright. But yeah, relative to the field here, spending much less energy. When this NCVC guy comes around me on the left side, I hop right on, and he tows me to the front of this little pack here. So now again, I'm in very good position, and the gap to the group of 3 that was ahead of us is closed. Richard hit some gnarly pothole and his bottle gets ejected. We are coming up to this next kicker, and looking at this, if I was on a different team, I would have sent a really hard attack up this kicker. District Taco actually does that, but if you look, I think it's Andre. He's way on the left side of the road, and he sends this attack. I send Ben to go after it, so he picks it up.
Taco going. Ben, follow.
And then the official on the moto tells District Taco to go to the back of the pack. So, yep, as that gets sorted out, we roll softly. And remember what I said about people attacking from the front of the pack? Alex Gas does that right here.
SLR's up the road.
It's really hard to get separation if you're attacking from the front, just because everyone can see what you're doing. He sends it again.
Let him go. Let that one go.
This time, because we are pretty much blocking the entire road, I tell our guys to let that one go. Obviously, this NCVC guy is not going to chase his teammate, so we are 4 wide. So we have the road nicely clogged up here, but unfortunately Ben and NCVC drift apart from each other and leave a little hole, and the young guns in the field do a really good job of slipping right through.
Miller going.
Alright, so here I identify a rider to my left who is on Team CCB, but I could definitely sense that he wanted to get towards the front of the race. At this point right now, I am somewhat pinned to the right of Remy, and I want to slip out to the left side of him, so What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find an opportunity to cross over, and then as I'm sliding back into the draft of Remy, this happens. I'm not going to comment much on this. I don't think I did anything wrong. It definitely annoyed me a little bit during the race, but just like with what happened with Ben earlier, I shook it off and then I focused on the race. And I need to move up. And I found my ticket in the CCB rider that I identified before. It worked out.
Push up a little bit.
Okay, so this has been a pretty long video up to this point. If you're still with me, thanks for listening to all my rambling. But I'm going to wrap this one up pretty soon. Everything that we've been doing up to this point in the race, we basically do for the next 2 laps. After we go up and over Blenheim Climb for the 3rd time out of 4 today, I remembered that I needed to turn off my GoPros so that I would have enough battery for the finish. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough battery on my front one. I did have enough battery on my rear GoPro, so I'll still be able to show you a bit of the finish. I am going to spoil the results of the race now. John Jaicks was able to stay away for 35 miles or so, and it actually came down to the wire, and it was an insane effort. Watch till the end.
Hey, just do what we've been doing. He's got 50 seconds. Let him go, let him go. Follow the next guy.
I wasn't able to film about a full lap of this race, but before we hop forward to the finish, I want to give a huge shout out to my teammates. You can see in the footage that Ben and Nick are quite strong. They did give me their full trust in being their road captain, no questions asked, no issues, and it made my job so much easier. And honestly, of the 20 guys that we have on our roster now, every single one of them is 100% willing to work for the team, and I'm really, really thankful for that. I am over the moon happy with how Speed Lab Racing has been developing over the past 1.5 years now that we've been in existence. And yeah, I'm just super, super thankful. All right, coming into the final couple miles here. What you guys don't get to see on film was that the past lap or so, we were covering a couple attacks like we had previously, but Max behind me on Team Carbon, on the rollers that were just leading into this section that you're seeing right now, he threw an absolute haymaker. I was pretty much on the limit following his wheel for a good 1.5 miles maybe. Thankfully, it was one of those situations where I was in a good position and I was already kind of on his wheel and I saw it coming. But man, yeah, I passed Ben. I told him to sit in. I was off the front of the pack on Max's wheel, pretty much going full gas. I obviously wasn't going to pull through because we still had John up the road. And I don't get it on film, but coming around one of these corners with about 1.5 miles to go, we can actually see John. And once the pack caught a glimpse of him, you could really feel the intensity go up a little bit. So by the time we got to the final corner, I think the gap was only 7 seconds or so. And John had peeked back and he knew that we were coming. And he literally gave it everything he had at the end. And it was interesting because within the last mile or so of the race, the pace of the pack was really hot, and then it would cool down a little bit, and then it would get hot again, and then it would cool down a tiny bit. And it was literally just enough for John to stay away. So it was a tiny bit of cat and mouse. But yeah, those little games that they played definitely saved us. Since I don't have the front footage, I thought it would be interesting if I showed you guys the Strava Flyby between me and John, because I was with the pack pretty much the entire time, and John was off the front. And I think this will show you just how close it was at the end. In the second half of lap 1, when John initially broke away, it looks like he put in a monster effort. By the time he got to Blenheim Climb on lap 2, he had about 50 seconds on the group. And then for most of the rest of the race, the gap bounces from 30 seconds to up to 60 seconds. And then you see in the last 4 or 5 miles or so, that gap just completely dive bombs. Yep, so confirmed on this Strava Flyby, John only had maybe a 6-second gap by the time he turned that last corner. We had him in our sights pretty much the entire last stretch. He was able to pull away a little bit, and then by the time he came to the finish line, I think he had about 5 or 6 seconds on the group. I think I actually have a video of it. I'll show it right here.
Let's go, John! Woo! Let's go! Yeah, buddy. Ale, 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 ale!
Yes, John!
And apparently right when John crossed the line, he said, "Oh, thank God that's over."
Big balls, dude. Big balls. Donkey! What are you talking about?
And just look at him. He's a completely broken man in this moment. Broken, but he's a champ, baby. Yeah, we are all super pumped for John. It's about a week after this race, and I'm still pretty dumbfounded at how amazing his effort was. But yeah, definitely for that kind of thing to happen, you definitely do need a team helping out. After having raced solo before,
Here we go, John!
I can confidently say that racing with a team is much more fun. And racing with a team of guys that you love is even better. Nick ends up getting 3rd in the field sprint,
Let's go, James! Let's go, Ben!
and Ben ends up getting 6th,
Let's go, Nick!
so they end up 4th and 7th overall.
Control it! Let's go! And 1 to go! You're almost there! Come on!
I fully understand that it is really rare for a race to go as perfectly as this one did.
He's in the hurt locker right now.
So we are definitely not going to expect something like this to happen again. But it was really nice to savor and to get one in the bag. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry it was a really long one, but I feel like there was a good amount to look at and learn from. And I definitely wanted to document this one because we got a team win. So if our team ever gets washed up, we can always look back on this.
Oh, Flynn with the move!
I do have more editing to do because I did the Tour of Newport news.
Go, Sean, come on.
I'll try to make those videos a little bit shorter. All right, hope you all have a good one. Beep boop.